Hello, out in Wonderland. To myself in 30 years, hopefully. Okay, I gotta be quick. Barron Trump collection still. That scared Clyde. Well, I'm moving in. I'm moving. Again. Lord. I'm 46, and I can't tell you how many times I've moved. Like, not at all. Guesstimate, maybe 20? Okay, anyway. Golly. Hey. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. I think I informed you that the river flowing through started on page 252. I think I informed you that the river flowing through Goggleland was fairly swarming with delicious fish, the carp and sole being particularly delicate in flavor, and knowing as I did what a tender-hearted folk the Minkies are, I had been not a little puzzled in my mind as to how they had ever been able to summon up courage enough to drive a spear into one of these fish, which were as tame and playful as a lot of kittens or puppies, and followed our barge hither and thither, snapping up the food we tossed to them and leaping into the air where they glistened like burnished silver as the white light sparkled on their scales. But the mystery was solved one day when I saw the fisherman decoying a score or more of fish into a sort of pen shut off from the river by a wire netting. Scarcely had he closed the gates when, to my amazement, I saw the fish, one after the other, come to the surface and float about on their sides, stone dead. "This, little baron," explained the man in charge, "is the death chamber. Hidden at the bottom of this dark pool lie several electric eels of great size and power, and when our people want a fresh supper of fish, we supply open these gates and decoy a shoal of them inside by tossing their favorite food into the water. The executioners are awaiting them, and in a few instants the fish, while enjoying their repast and suspecting no harm, are painlessly put to death, as thou hast seen." One part of the city of the transparent folk which attracted Bulger and me very much was the Royal Gardens. It was a weird and uncanny place, and upon my first visit I walked through its paths and beneath its arbors upon my toes with bated breath, as you might steal into some bit of fairyland, looking anxiously from side to side as if every step you expected some sprite or goblin to trip you up with a tough spider web or brush your cheeks with their cold satiny wings. Now, dear friends, you must first be told that the loss of the sunshine and the open air, the flowers and shrubs and vines of this underground world, gradually parted with their perfumes and colors, their leaves and petals and stems and tendrils growing paler and paler in hue, like lovelorn maids whose sweethearts had never come back from the war. Month by month, the dark greens, the bluish pinks, the golden yellows, and the deep blues pinned away, longing for the lost sunshine and the wooing breeze they loved so dearly, until at last the transformation was complete, and there they all stood or hung, bleached to utter whiteness, like those fantastic clumps of flowers and wreaths of vines which the feathery snow of April builds in the leafless shrubs and trees. I cannot tell you, dear friends, what a strange feeling came over me as I stepped within this spectral garden where ghost-like vines clung in fantastic forms and figures to the dark trellises, and where tall lilies, whiter than the down of eider, stood bolt upright like spirits doomed to eternal silence, denied even the speech of perfume, where huge clusters of snowy chrysanthemums, fluffy feathery forms, seemed pressing their soft bodies together like groups of banished celestials in a sort of silent despair as they felt the warmth and glow of sunlight slowly and gradually quitting their souls. Where lower down, great roses with snowy petals whiter than the seashells hung motionless, bursting open with eager effort, as if listening for some signal that would dissolve the spell that put upon them and give them back the sunshine, and with it their color and their perfume. Where lower still, beds of violets bleached white with fleecy clouds seemed wrapped in silent sorrow at loss of the heavenly perfume which had been theirs on earth, where above the lilies' heads shot long, slender, spectral stalks of sunflowers, almost invisible, loaded at their ends with clusters of snowy flowers, thus suspended like white faces looking down through the silent air, and waiting for the sunshine that never came. And higher still, all over and above these spectral flowers, entwining and enwrapping and falling festoon with garland wise, crept and ran like unto long lines of escaping phantoms, ghostly vines with ghostly blossoms, bent and twisted and wrapped and coiled into 1,000 strange and fantastic forms and figures, which the white light with its inky shadows made alive and half-human, so that movement and voice alone were needful to make this garden seem peopled with sorrowing sprites, banished to these subterranean chambers for strange misdeeds done on earth, and condemned to wait 10,000 years ere sunlight and their color and their perfume should be given back to them again. While strolling the royal gardens one day, Bulger suddenly gave a low cry and bounded on ahead as if his eyes had fallen upon a familiar form of some dear friend. When I came up with him, he was crouching beside the damozel glowstone, who, seated on one of the garden benches, was caressing Bulger's head and ears with one of her soft hands with its filmy-like skin, while the other held its black fan pressed tightly against her bosom. She looked up at me with her crystal eyes and smiled faintly as I drew near. "Thou seest, little baron," she murmured, "Lord Bulger and I have not forgotten each other. Since our presentation at court, I had been going through and through my mind in search of some reason for Bulger's sudden affection for Damozel Glowstone, but had found none. I was more perplexed as she, but the maid of honor, while the fair Princess Crystallina sat at the very steps of the throne. But I said nothing, save to reply that I was greatly pleased to see it, and add that where Bulger's love went, mine was sure to follow. "Oh, little baron, if I could but believe that," sighed the fair damozel. "Thou must," I said, "indeed thou must." "Then, if I may, little baron," she replied, "I will, and prithee come and sit beside me here, only till I bid thee, look not through me. Dost promise?" "I do, fair damozel," was my answer. "And thou, Lord Bulger, lie there at my feet," she continued, "and keep thy wise eyes fixed upon me, and thy keen ears wide open. Little baron, if both thine and our worlds were filled with sorrowing hearts, mine would be the heaviest of them all. List, oh, list to the sad, sad tale of the sorrowing maid with the speck in her heart, and when thou knowest all, give me of thy wisdom." Chapter 11. The sad, sad tale of the sorrowing princess with the speck in her heart, and what all happened when she had ended it, which the reader must read for himself if he would know. "Little baron and dear Lord Bulger," began the crystal-eyed damozel, after she had eased her soul of its load of woe by 3 long and deep sighs, Know then that I am not the damosel Glowstone, but none other than the royal princess Crystallina herself. That she whose hair I comb should comb mine, and then she whom I have served for 10 long years should have served me. And to think, O princess, I burst out joyfully, that my beloved Bulgar should have been the first to discover that she was who was seated at the steps of the crystal throne was not entitled to the seat, and to think that his subtle intellect should have been the first to scent out the wrong that had been done thee. His keen eye was the first to go to the bottom of truth's well. But, fair princess, I am bursting with impatience to know how thou did ever discover the wrong that has been done thee. Thou shalt speedily know, little baron, answered Crystallina, that thou mayst know all that I know. I'll begin at the very beginning. That was like God's timing. As soon as I said the beginning, my alarm started going off. Okay, so tomorrow we'll start with chapter 11. Quit procrastinating on anything and everything. Time wasted is just that, wasted. Avoid distractions and the noise around me. Block it out. The art of continuous self-love through food, through water intake, through intentional meditation and thought. Something inside of me is superior to circumstance. Is it kind? Is it true? Does it reflect my authentic self? Focus more on money and its education. Focus more on self-discipline. See the sun, honor the moon. Forward momentum. The path out of hell is through misery. Honor my journey. We are slaves to our own incessant urges to escape the present moment. Meditate, walk, journal, stretch, love animals, leave life to wonder all it needs. Less stress, more fairy tale. Work on bettering the love I show my body through the food and beverage I put in it. With money, it's not what you make, but what you keep. Focus. Lose any ties to victim mentality. Continue to help yourself. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm running late already, so I gotta go. And hopefully I can meet with you again tomorrow.